I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
On 20th January 2025, Donald Trump took over the White House, and Americans are already feeling that the strain of inflation may soon find their wallets even more stretched, thanks to a new round of tariffs announced by President Trump on April 2nd, a day he has dubbed Liberation Day.
The countdown is on to Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day. In just 12 hours' time, the president will announce sweeping global tariffs on products imported to the United States.
According to Trump, these measures aim to correct trade imbalances between the U.S. and other nations. However, while the former president claims these tariffs are paid by foreign countries, the reality is different. The cost is absorbed by U.S. importers like Walmart, Amazon, and other businesses that rely on foreign goods. In turn, these companies often pass the added expenses on to consumers in the form of higher prices. The newly announced tariff structure includes two major components. First, there is a universal 10% tariff that will apply to all imported goods. Second, there are reciprocal tariffs targeting over 60 countries that maintain existing trade relationships with the U.S. These reciprocal tariffs are meant to mirror the tariffs those countries impose on American exports. Crucially, these tariffs are additive, meaning that affected products will not only incur the blanket 10% import tax, but also face additional country-specific levies. This move will likely impact a wide range of products from electronics and home appliances to clothing, furniture, and even food, making everyday items potentially more expensive for U.S. consumers. During his announcement, Mr. Trump claimed that the newly imposed tariffs would eventually help bring down prices for American consumers, a priority issue for many voters. However, most economists disagree, warning that these measures are more likely to drive inflation even higher. The reason is straightforward. When tariffs raise the cost of importing goods, businesses often pass those costs on to consumers. As a result, Americans could soon be paying more for a wide range of everyday products. This includes essentials like coffee and chocolate, which are largely imported, as well as popular electronics such as iPhones, which are manufactured abroad.
When it comes to groceries, economists project that if consumers are made to absorb the entirety of the 20% import tariffs on Europe, things like this, olive oil from Italy, $20 now, it'll be up to $24. And something else that folks are really not gonna like, alcohol could also rise by that 20% as well. But not just imported alcohol from Europe, but also domestically produced alcohol because of the tariffs on aluminum and on glass. Something else, seafood. The USDA says about 80% of seafood consumption in the U.S. comes from high tariff countries. India, Indonesia, China, Canada, Vietnam. So that could rise. But there are a couple of bright spots. The folks here at the Sabzi market say that meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, they're likely not going to change much. Also, take a look at this produce display here. And despite the tariffs on Mexico and Canada, the folks here at markets like this don't expect produce to rise much more than a couple of percent. Another bright spot, inventory. Managers of stores like this say that their vendors say they have plenty of inventory that will likely last for months, and consumers won't start to feel the pinch for several months down the road. But economists say the folks that will start to feel the pinch the soonest are low-income families.
Due to the newly announced 10% universal tariff on all imports, Americans should brace for rising prices across a wide array of consumer goods in the coming weeks and months. These tariffs, absorbed first by U.S. importers like Walmart and Amazon, will likely be passed down to consumers as companies adjust pricing to account for the added costs. A historical example from Mr. Trump's first term shows the potential impact. After imposing tariffs on imported washing machines, the average price rose over 11%, adding roughly $86 to the cost of a new unit, according to researchers at the University of Chicago. Now, with the addition of targeted reciprocal tariffs, some of the specific nations are poised to see their exports to the U.S. become significantly more expensive. China, Taiwan, and South Korea, which are key suppliers of electronics such as Apple iPhones and televisions, are on the list. China in particular will be hit with a 34% reciprocal tariff. This is notable given that almost all iPhones are currently made in China. Even though Apple has begun shifting some production to India, that country will also face a 26% tariff under the new rules. Analyst Dan Ives of Wedbush notes that whether companies like Apple receive tariff exemptions will likely depend on how much manufacturing they shift to the US. Additionally, autos are also taking a hit. On top of a previously announced 25% tariff on imported vehicles, the new 10% universal tariff means many imported models, and even US-assembled cars using foreign parts could see price hikes. Consumers might pay anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 more for entry-level American cars, and up to $20,000 more for certain imports, according to an analysis from Anderson Economic Group. The apparel and footwear industries will also feel the squeeze. Most of the clothing and shoes sold in US retailers like Target and Walmart come from countries such as China, Vietnam, and Bangladesh. And all of them are now facing reciprocal tariffs of 34%, 46%, and 37% respectively. The cost increases will likely be reflected in store prices soon. Luxury goods and food are not immune either. European wines, Scottish whiskey, and Swiss watches will all see price hikes due to new reciprocal tariffs. 20% for EU goods and 10% for products from the UK, while Swiss imports face a hefty 31% rate. Luis Amoroso, CEO of Full Glass Wine Coats, emphasized the industry-wide ripple effects, predicting that even a 20% tariff could result in a 40% retail price increase due to cumulative supply chain markups. Even household staples like furniture, coffee, and chocolate are affected, with about 30% to 40% of US furniture being largely imported from China and Vietnam. The costs are expected to rise. Meanwhile, Latin America, which supplies the US with 80% of its coffee, now faces 10% tariffs. Chocolate prices may rise too, with cocoa bean exporters like Côte d'Ivoire and Ecuador facing tariffs of 21% and 10% respectively. To understand what this might look like, consider a brief example under the new tariff rules. Let's say an iPhone imported from China costs $1,000 before tariffs. With the new 10% universal tariff, the price immediately jumps to $1,100. Then, if China faces an additional 15% reciprocal tariff under this policy, the cost would rise again, this time to $1,265. This $265 increase would either be absorbed by retailers, unlikely, or passed directly to consumers at checkout. And that's just one product. Multiply this effect across thousands of goods, and the economic burden on American households becomes much clearer. Do let us know what you think about the new tariff in the comments, because the public reaction to the new tariff announcement has been swift and vocal. Many consumers, already grappling with high inflation, are frustrated by the prospect of even steeper prices on everyday essentials and popular goods.
I think it's pretty ridiculous and a slap in the face to our allies. Like, you guys have our back, you stimulate our economy.
It might cost us more in the long run, you know, down here, and he has a lot of different things he's doing and may come back to bite him. All of us, you never know.
We got to do what we got to do. I mean, we've been taken advantage of for too long, and I believe in Trump.
I don't know. He's saying it's to reduce drugs and things to cross the border, but I don't buy that really. So
I feel like the prices are ridiculous now. It's to the point where it's going to be harder for people to shop because the prices are just insane. Literally, yes, because last week I like literally for the same amount of stuff that I bought, I literally paid like maybe $30-40, and now it's like $75 for like 3 bags of groceries. It's like completely insane.
So far it's the same, but I was in a restaurant depot to buy some aluminum plate foil. The price go up from $42 to $59.60 for the 500 aluminum plate.
With President Trump rolling out sweeping new tariffs under what he calls Liberation Day, the economic stakes are high, and not just for foreign trade partners, but for everyday American consumers. Will these bold moves bring manufacturing back to the US and reduce the trade deficit? Or will they backfire by driving up prices and straining household budgets even further? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know how you think these tariffs will impact you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss an update on this developing story.